Hello everyone, welcome back to this video. So this video is part 2 of the password manager app that we started previously. If you are coming straight to part 2, so to this video, I'm sure that you will not understand anything. So please refer to part 1 before you go to this video. I will post the link down below. So in part 1 we have reached this stage where we have developed the password screen. We have developed the password events, the view model, and etc. So we have the scaffold or the floating action button. When we press it, we will go to the next screen. But now we are not currently putting any UIs in the screen, and we have the list of passwords, but now we don't have any passwords added yet. So let's start with the add edit password screen. So first of all, when we go to another screen in MVVM and clean architecture, we will ask ourselves what actions or what events are there in this screen, what we can do. So in the add edit password screen, we will have 4 text fields, one for service, another for password, username, and the last for any additional nodes. So what events we have are entering service. So when the user is entering the service, which is, let's say, Facebook, Insta, or LinkedIn, or whatever, entering the password, entering username, and entering nodes, and one additional event, which is save passwords. Of course, when the user adds the credentials for the password, he wants to save it. So we have another event, which is save password. So let's create the sealed class events. So it is sealed. We will type it as add edit password events or event. No problem. All right, and this is it. Now we will define the different events in this screen. So they will be data class entering service. So when the user is entering the service, and we will have a parameter of value, which is the string that the user is entering. So let's say Facebook. So this value will be Facebook. Insta. This value will be Insta. So value, it will be of type string, and it will be extending from the add edit password event. Another event, which is entering password, also it will contain value, it will be of type string, and also add edit password event. I will duplicate it because the other two are the same, but this will not be entering password, it will be entering user name, the same, and the last will be entering nodes, if the user wants to add any additional nodes. And one additional event will be that is saving the password, but this will be only object, not a data class, because it doesn't need to have a parameter, so like this, like here, value. It is just an object to indicate that the user is saving password. So it will be object password. It will be as the above, extending from add edit event. All right, now we have finished the events, or the different events in the screen. Now we will go to the text field state. So as we said before, the add edit screen will have 4 text fields, and every text field will have state. So state is let's say it contains the text. So the text the user is entering and the hint. So if the user is not entering or the text is empty, so the hint will be something. So the text field should have two properties: the text and the hint. Every one of these four text fields would have the same state. So let's create this. Will be also seed class. So seed class, let's type it as password text field state, as it refers to the text field of the different credentials. This, or sorry, not seed. This is data class. Data class, and it will have different parameters. So the first one will be text, so the text entered by the user. Another one is the hint, also of type string, and let's define a default value for them. So let's type as an empty string. This when we don't need them. So this is the password text field state. That's it. Now we will be creating the view model. So every screen, of course, it will have a view model, since the view doesn't need to know from where or how to get the data. It's just interested in getting the data. The view model is responsible for how to get the data to the view. So let's create a class which will be the add edit view model. So add edit view model, and we will make sure that Dagger Hilt will inject it for us. So we will annotate it as inject and constructor, and we will annotate this class as Hilt view model. Now this will have a parameter of use cases. So because this view model will have different use cases, such as saving the password, or etc. So the different actions that we defined them before. And we'll have a second parameter, which is save the state handle. Now I will not talk about it. I will talk about it when we need to access it or to use it, because if I explain it now, you will not understand anything. So let's proceed. Now this view model will have quite a bit variables. So let's start private val, or private val service state. So the state of the service of the user. So it's the first text field. So it will be a mutable state of password text field, and it will now as we have defined a default value for the for both of the parameters, so we don't need to define a value for them, but we will define a value for the hint, as by default the text will be, of course, empty. So we can type the hint as let's type it as service. All right, now we will define a public parameter or a public variable to access for this variable. Let's type state of password, so we don't accidentally change it from other than this file. So service state. Now we have another private variable, which is the password state. Now this will be also the same password text field we will define the hint as password and a public variable password state. It will be of type state of password text field. It will be equal to the password state. Another private variable, which is now the user name state. So these basically are the different credentials that the user can enter for the password. So here also we will define the hint as, let's type it, username, public parameter, username state. It will be of type state, password text field, username. All right, and another variable, which is the notes state, will be type password text field. And now also we will define the hint as notes public parameter. This will be private to this, so let's add the underscore private notes state. It will be of type state of type password text field. It will be equal to the notes state. All right, and now we will create another variable. Now let's create it as now we are creating variables. Let's create it now. So it will be private var UI event. This will be type immutable shared flow of type UI events. But wait, this events or UI events we don't yet created. So let's first of all create the public variable for it. So private or val UI event will be, or it's just a shared flow equal to UI event, and this will be of type events. Let's make it capital here, and also let's make it capital here. Now this UI events will be a seed class of the events that we can do. So here the only event the user can click or do is save password. So this is what he can do. So we will create a sealed class as events, Android Studio automatically suggested for us. It will be type object save password, as it is it doesn't needs any parameters, so we create it as an object. And this indicates that when the user hit the save button, this shared flow will emit a save password event. So when we emit a save password event, the screen will navigate from add edit screen to passwords screen and will add it to the database. All right, now let's create or now let's define the different events that we have created before. So let's create a function on event. It will take an event from the add edit password event, and now we will check for the event that when is it add edit password event dot entering service. Let's start by the entering service. What we want to do, well, when the user is entering the service, we want to change this variable, so the service state dot value dot text to the user entered text. You will see it how now. So service state dot value dot text will be equal to the old service state dot value. We will copy this class, and now we will define the text to the event dot value. So this event dot value is right here. So if the event is entering password, now we can access this value, and if the event is entering password, we can access this value right here. Now if you as you can see, we are getting an error because this service state I define it as val, so we cannot change it. To remove this error, just change it to var. And now we have also another error. Let's see what. Oh, we have create the hint, or we don't need to access and just the value, just the service state dot value, and change the text, because if we want to change its hint, here we can change hint equal, and we can change, but here we are not interested in changing the hint, except only the text. Now the second event is entering password. Now if we are changing if the user is entering a password, we want to remove it or change it, sorry. Dot copy, and as you can see here, I forgot and write the service state, and no, it is not the service state, it's the password state. This is referring to the entered password by the user. So here we'll replace service state by password state, and we want to change the text to as the above event dot value. All right, now the third one is entering username, the same as above. So username dot state is equal to the old username dot value dot copy. The text will be event dot value. The same for the fourth event, which is entering nodes. So node state dot value is equal to node state dot value dot copy, and we want to change the text to the event dot value. All right, we have finished the fourth events. Now we still have one event, which is the saving event. Right here we define it. We have finished this fourth, and we still have this event, which is when the user clicks the save button. So let's define it, the first one. So when it is add edit password dot save password, what we want to do here, we just want to add this password. So we want to call this use case, which is add password. When we call it, this function will be executing and it will check if the password we entered is if the service is not blank, so it's not empty, and the password should not be empty, then the password will be added to our database. Otherwise, no password will be added. All right, now let's define the body of this event. So here we want to call use cases dot add password, and we want to and here we want to pass a password, but here we can't put the event dot value. We don't have such parameter, because if we go to the a safe password. Here it is an object, no parameter it has. Here we could because it is a data class and have the value, and here we can't. So what we can do, we can create a password, and here the ID will be let's create the ID can't we can not to pass an ID. So here what we can do, we can pass a service. It will be the service the user entered. So when the user is entering a service, this service state, this variable will be changed, the text of it will be changed, and we can pass it to the service here. So we can service state dot value dot text, or dot text, sorry. All right, and now we can pass the password as well. It will be the same password state dot value dot text. Let's reformat it a little bit. So put arguments in a separate line. We have the username also, username dot value dot text, as well as the note. So note state dot value dot text. And here we want to emit that event using this shared flow event. So we want to emit that the user now has clicked the saved button. So when the event is occurred, when the save button event is emitted, the system will navigate the user from the add edit screen to the password screen. So here we want to make sure to call UI event.emit, and we will emit a UI events of password, which is I'm not seeing, so let's type it manually. So it is this add edit view model dot UI events dot save password, and this is it. Now as you can see, we have a small error because this is a suspend function. So here it's a suspend function, so we can directly call it from the main thread or a non-coroutine based scope. So and this is also a suspend function. You can see it from this mark here. So what we can do, we can call view model scope, or here we didn't extend from view model, so we should. And now we have access to the scope, and here we can now call these two functions. Now this is correct. This is all what we need to do, except there's a one single method we need to define, which is in the init block. So when this view model is initialized, this will all of the code inside this init block will be called. Now what we want to do is, what about this this code, or what we have written is for the user when clicked on the add password floating action button. What if the user want to edit the password? So he will click the password item and will navigate back to the add edit screen, and the text fields should take or should extract the credentials of this password and fill it in their text. So for that we will need to use the saved state handle that we passed as a parameter for the view model class. Now what this will be, or what is saved state handle is, it's a handle to saved state passed down to the view model. You should use state if you want to receive this object in a view model's constructor. So basically what saved state handle is, it's a key value map. So you can give it the key, and it will return for you the result if it exists. So this saved state handle will return for you the ID of the password when you click on the password item. So when you clicked on the password item, as you will be redirected to the edit screen, and then the key will be saved in this saved state handle. So you can extract this ID from the saved state handle when the user clicks the password item. So here what we want to do, we want to get a key. This key will be of type integer as it's the password ID, and we will write the password key as password ID. And now this might be null, so we will check if it's not null, we will proceed to this block. Alright, so now the result is it. Well, let's type it as password it so we don't confuse. So here we get the password ID when the user clicked the password item. So here we want to check first of all if the password ID is not equal to -1. So here if the password is not equal to -1, then the user is clicking or clicked the password item, whatever he wants. So the default value of this password ID will be -1. So if the user didn't click any item, the password ID will be -1, and so the user by that is entering a new password. He is not editing one. So if it's not -1, so the password ID is or the user have clicked a password. Now I forgot to create a variable which will be the clicked or the pressed password ID. So we will cache it inside a private var, because we will change it a little bit. So we will write it as pressed password ID. This will be as of type int, and it can be null, because if the user didn't click any password, it will be null. So we will not have a pressed password ID. So here we will make this pressed password ID is equal to this password ID right here. And now we will launch a view model scope, is a coroutine scope. We will launch it in our dispatchers .io scope. So this is beneficial for reading or writing reading data or writing data to the database or remote data source. So it's like an input output a scope. So let's or now we want to delay just 100 seconds. Why we want to delay it? Well, if we go to init, sometimes this block will happen before these variables are created. So we want to delay 100 or 100 milliseconds, so that these variables are surely created before, because here we want to change the text of these variables inside this. So we will need to be surely that these states are created before we proceed. So 100 milliseconds is good enough. So now we will access use cases. We want to get this password by ID. So we will pass the password ID dot let. So here we will get the password from the database, and here what we will do, we will change the service state value. So value dot, we will copy its value and we will change its color to this password dot service. So whatever this password has a server, it will be extracted and copied to this text field, or sorry, this text field which is responsible for the service. The same for the other four ones. So let's just copy and paste. Alright, we will change them respectively. So this will be password state, as well as for this password will be for the password. This will be for the username state, as well for this, and this for the username. So here it is the it's the username field that we want to extract. Now, as you can see, here we have an error because this username might be a null, so the user might not enter a username or a note even. So this want to be sure that this is not a null. So what we can do, let's make it manually. So we can make as password dot username. We want to check it if it's not null, so make this here, and this will be the username, so we can pass it here. All right, now we will make the same for the nodes. So this can also be null. This is node. All right, but this will be not service state but node state. What I have done. All right, here as well, and here as well, or we can just take the node we passed to the scope function right here. All right, this is everything in this view model class. I know this is quite a bit of code, but it's really simple, not that hard. All right, now we will go to the UI side of things. So we will create a reusable component, which is the text field, because as we said before, we will have 4 text field. So we will create a reusable text field. So let's create it as custom text field component text field. All right, and now we will pass quite a bit of parameters. So we will of course pass the modifier, as every composable has a modifier, and we will make a default value. We will define the text that we want to be inside the text field, of course, also the hint, and we will make a boolean argument, because we want to make sure that if this text field is nodes, so the user can enter many lines, so the user have as much space as he can. But if it's not node text field, so the user has only one line. So of course the username doesn't want to be more than one line. The same for the password, the same for the service. All right, now we will make a text field. Let's add a comma before. We will add a second parameter, which is of type text style. This is just for the style of the text field. import it from Android Compose. Make sure to from Android Compose to import it, and we will pass the on text change function. So when the user is entering or changing the text, so it will take argument of type string, so the enter text, and the last icon or the last parameter will be composable. So we will annotate it as a composable, and it will not return anything. So this is just for the leading icon of the text field. So every text field will have an icon to express its meaning to the user. Alright, and now we will just create the text field, which is from material components, and we will just pass the parameters we have yet entered. So it is on text change, and also it has a modifier. It's the modifier we have we have entered as an argument, and we will add one modifier to it, which is fill maximum width, because if we didn't put this modifier, and let's put it first of all to 0.84, so this width of the text field will not expand to the entire screen. Instead, it will at maximum fills at 0.8% of the device screen. Now we will let's format it a little bit. So put on separate lines, and we want to make sure to put the text style and the leading icons. Of course, leading icon is equal to the leading icon, and here the single line will be true if the is notes is false. So basically what this will do, the single line will make the text field only one line at maximum. So how much, no matter how much the user enter text, this text field will be only one line, and this will be true if the text field is not node. So if the text field is service or password or other than nodes, it will be single line. Alright, and now we will pass the label. This will be a composable, and we will enter the text. Text will be the hint. Alright, this is everything we need to do in this file, and now we will go to the add edit password screen. Alright, now first of all, the add edit password screen will have two arguments. First of all, it will have a nav controller to navigate back to the password screen, and a view model, which is specific for the add edit view model, and we will initialize it as Hilt view model. So the Dagger Hilt will initialize it for us. Now we will make use of the scaffold layout. So we want to define a scaffold state as remember scaffold state, as well as we will define the four states, the four text field states that we want to get from the view model. So the first one will be the service state, will be view model dot service state dot value. The second will be password state, also view model dot password state dot value. The second will be user name, and here also the user name this will be nodes state, and here also nodes state. All right, that's it. Now we want to draw the UI on the screen, so we will make use of scaffold. Scaffold will have some arguments as scaffold state that we have defined, and a floating action button. This is for saving the password. So icons dot fold dot save. The content just type as save password. All right, and now we want to define the method when the user presses on this floating action button. So when the user presses in this save button, we will launch a view model event that we have created before, which is on event, and the event will be saving the password. So it will be add edit password event dot save password. So when this function is called with a save event, it will look, and this is the save password event. It will launch a coroutine scope, and it will add it to the database, and then it will emit event, which is a save password that the user have clicked the saved button. All right, and now we can go here, and we want to, whenever this UI event send or emit a state or emit an event, which is right here, we want to navigate back to the passwords screen. So this will be launched effect. So it is a side effect scope, and here we want to execute this the side effect only the first time the composable will be composed. So here we will listen for the events that the UI event will emit, and we will listen for the last event this or the last event, yes, this UI event has sent. So if it sends two events at the same time, and this normally don't happen, but if it occurs, we will listen to the latest one, the last one it sent. So now let's type it as event, and now we will want to make sure that this event is a save password. So it is add event UI not password, it will be view model dot UI events dot save password. So when the user clicked on the save button, we want to navigate back to the password screens, and we can just simply navigate up. So to the last screen in the stack, which is the password screen. All right, now we will start implementing the content of the scaffold. So the text fields, we will create a box to center our content. So we will make it as as it takes the whole width and height of the device. So it will be alignment.center. So the content will be centered, and we want to stack the text field as or be below each other. So we want to make them inside a column, and here we want to define the custom text field we have created. So here we will pass these states that we get from the view model. So first one will be the first state, we want to make the text, and here the service state dot hint. Let's put them on a separate line for visual references. And now on text change. So when the user changes the text in this text field, we want to launch a view model event that we have created on event, and this event will be entering a service, because in this text field the user is entering a service, and we want to pass it the newly entered text, which is the one we're getting from the from this function. All right, now this second function is for the leading icon, but let us create a like this. It's more visually appealing. All right, let's define the leading icon. It will be icons dot field dot service. We will use this one. This will be service. I typed incorrectly. All right, now here it is. The other ones will be almost identical, but first of all, let's separate them. So modify your dot height. Let's make the height as 20 dp. We will paste that here, and here it will be the let's make it the username state. So this will be the username text field, and here will be entering username, and here we will make for the person, and here for the person as well, spacer. So the text fields are not intersecting with each other, or not combining with each other. So we will make a height for them as well, 20 dp. Paste the copied custom text field, and now it will be the password text field. So we'll replace everything by password. Here will be entering password. The let's make it password, and here it will be password as well. And here we want to this will be the notes, the text field for the last one, which is notes as well. Here entering notes, and here it will be the icon notes as well. All right, now we have finished. Before, we need to add one single argument for the text field, which is the is notes, because by default it is false, and when it is false, the single line, so or the text field is only one line. But for the notes, we want to make the text field we want to make it as long as or how many or how much the user want to add. So we want to make it as notes true, so that single line will be false. Let's go to the add edit screen, and here it for the notes we will pass the is notes as true. All right, this is it, I think. Okay, let's see if everything is working. First of all, did we make the navigation component? All right, here it is. And now the add edit passwords need to have some additional argument, so it will need the nav controller. All right, let's test it. Hopefully everything is correct. Alright, welding, waiting for Gradle to finish building. Alright. And yes, this technique is very helpful. The MVVM combined with clean architecture, because if you want, if now happened that you want to add another feature, you just enter, create a new package, and let's say feature, if I typed correctly, feature note or tasks, sorry, for example. So we need to add a next feature, which is the user is able to add tasks. So you can simply create a feature tasks directory or package, and then make the same as for the feature password, such as the data source, the domain, the view models, and etc. Alright, now Gradle have finished. Let's click on this. Alright, and here are the text fields that we have created. So this is for the service. Let's type as Facebook. Alright, the username, we don't want to enter a username. Let's enter a password as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, and we don't want to enter a notes. Let's save it. And here it is. Here is the item or the password item that we want, that we added. But I want to edit it, edit the password item. I want to make elevation for the card, and I want to align this to the end. So how we can make it? Let's close these all up and navigate to the presentation, and this will be inside the passwords and the password item. Okay, the card has a navigation, or sorry, elevation. So here we want to align the icon at the end. So here in the icon button we can use the modifier. So modifier dot align, simply click and all, or let's type it alignment dot and. So this, by this, the icon will be at the end, but the elevation, it should have made elevation because we have set it. Let's rerun it. All right, and here is the icon. Let's click in this item, and here, as you can see, we have created the or the system, the text feed have extracted the different texts from the password. So the service is Facebook, they got it, and the password as well. Here for some reason it displayed for us username, but so as you can see, here we had the text feed of the username has put in username without our interference. So let's take a look. If we go and enter and we type Twitter, for example, and we hit password and we save it, we didn't enter any username. But if we go and edit, you see the username. Now what this now why this happened is here, because when we are saving the password, we are, instead of typing the username and assigning it the text, the username, so the entered text by the user, we are assigning it the hint. So the hint is the username, so we are assigning the username of the password as the hint. We don't want to make the like this. We want to make it as text. All right, let's test it now to see if it works. All right, let's add a new service. Let's type as Instagram password, any numbers. Let's save it. We didn't enter any username. If we now go to edit, you will see no username has been assigned to the text field because we didn't enter anyone or any username. Okay, great. Now let's, if you can see, the card elevation is not seen, even though we have assigned it a card, because we need to make a space between the cards. So what we can do, we can go to the password screens. Let's make this underscore because we don't need it. And here the password item, after the password item, we might give it a height space, so they are far from each other, so we can see the card elevation. Now we want to make that when the user delete the password, a snack bar will be shown and make the user able to undo his last operation. So the deleted password will be re-added if he pressed undo. So this can be done in the on item delete. So what we can make in the on item delete, we can make result. So we can put like this. So var result is equal to scaffold state dot snackbar host dot show snackbar, and we will make the message as password deleted, and the action label we want to make it as undo, as it is the action or the label of the undo button. Now this will return a result of type snackbar result. So if the user presses the action, it will retain a snackbar result dot performed result or performed action. So we will make sure that the result, if it's equal to snackbar result dot action performed, so the user clicked the action, which is undo, we want to make a view model dot event, and this event will be add password, or what did we have passed to the passwords view models. So let's check it on event. So it is restore password. So restore password will re-add this deleted or the last deleted password. So restore password. Alright, and as you can see here, we need to make this is a suspend function, so we need to put it in the scope function, and we can make it easily by creating a scope which will remember the coroutine scope, and here we can launch scope dot launch. So here we can we can get a coroutine scope. All right, let's test it now. As you can see, there is a space between the different items, and the elevation now is being shown for the cart. Now what happened if we click delete? This will be deleted and a snack bar will be shown. So let's delete Facebook and undo. It will be re-added to the password screen. So delete and undo, it will be added. Now there is one issue in this app. Let's edit this entry or this password. Let's change the username to, let's say, type your name, whatever name you want. Let's hit save. As you can see, it created another password instead of editing it. So this one is the one we edited last time. Now why this happened? Because in the add edit view model, here we are not passing the ID. So every time we are adding or we hitting the save button, the room database will increment the password automatically. So if we have two passwords, so the first one will be let's say 0, the second one will be 1, the third one we will add will be 2. So it will not, or it will never edit a password. So for that we should pass the ID for the password by this ID, which is the pressed password ID. So this pressed password ID, if we hit let's say this item here, if we hit this item, so this pressed password ID will be the ID of this element here. So here, if we hit this save button, it will we want to edit this this entry, not add it to a separate password item. So for that we want to pass this as an ID for the password, and this is it. Now what if the user click this, not one of these password items? So this will be null, and if room will see if the ID of the password we pass here is null, so it will make sure to add a different ID based on the last one added before. So if we have 4 IDs, this one will be the ID of 4. So let's test it now. All right, and here it is. Now let's delete this one here. Let's go to Facebook, the first password item, and let's re-enter the username as Amzad, and now hit save, and here it is. No other entry was added. If we go to the Facebook password, you will see the last edited item. So this is guys, This is everything about MVVM, clean architecture, dependency injection, alongside with the Jetpack Compose. So as you can see, it's not very difficult. Once you are used to it, you will feel in love with Android development. So thanks for watching, good luck, and happy coding.